feed Kabbalat Shabbat with Reverend Dwight Wilson. I hope that'll blow the mind of every Jew out there looking for a Friday night service on YouTube. Kabbalat Shabbat with Reverend Dwight. Feed Kabbalat Shabbat. There we go. Okay. I'm going to let Amanda let everybody in as they show up, and we build toward a larger group. And we're going to start tonight with davening, and that way, as I was saying to people who are here, we can relax into the poetry and then just finish after poetry with like a closing song or kiddush. So as people show up, we're going to start the service. Let's start on page 13. And of the Kabbalat Shabbat, of the Sim Shalom. If you don't have a Sim Shalom, just glide along with us. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharei, Malachei Hayom, Mimelech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boahem HaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Hayom, Mimelech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Hayom, Mimelech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Hayom, Mimelech, Malachei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So as we settle into our praying, our brief service, we settle into beginning Shalom Aleichem, welcoming in spirits, those who are here by Zoom and we can see in their windows, and also the invisible spirits we could be inviting in, and from dimensions that intersect with our own. And we wish a blessing from them as we also wish to bless those spirits. We head directly to page 15 for Psalm 95, the Psalm of Gratitude. And the Psalm of Gratitude gives us two instructions. The first one is to breathe and to put down your baggage. That's the custom of the pilgrimage psalm, became the pilgrimage psalm, so that when you arrived at Jerusalem, you would put down your baggage. And here we are at Shabbat. Whatever you're carrying, you can't be grateful if you're burdened. So whatever it is you're worried about, people's health you're worried about, people's finances, communities of color in this country and Asian American communities, all the things that we're carrying from the week, we can take a little break from it for Friday night, resume with those challenges tomorrow morning. And so let's put down our anxieties, our burdens, and begin the psalm. Lehu neranena, l'Adonai, Nariah l'tzor yishenu, Nikadma fana, B'tota, Yismira, Nariah lo. As we get to the bottom of the psalm, God interrupts the poet by interjecting that you'll also chase away the spirit of gratitude by complaining. So we see the world as it is, as beautiful for Shabbat, as a blessing, as full of possibilities and wonder, as we sing God's warning at the bottom of the psalm. Arba'in shana, akud betor, va'omar, amto elevavein, ve'hem lo yadu, deracha, asher nishpati li'api, im yivon el menuchati. We usually go through all the Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms, but that poetry, but we have different poetry tonight in a little while. So we'll skip those, we'll skip by those like the Gazelle, Mountain Gazelle we celebrate at the beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat, skip right past, but we remember what they say, which is that the world around us, all of nature is full of sound. When we hear that sound as music, then we're hearing it as God hears it. And that's what we're opening up to as we reach Lecha Dodi on page 21. Lecha Dodi likrakava, Pene Shabbat nekabela, Shamor b'zachor b'diborecha yishmi'anu Elam Yuchad Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad L'Shem Multiferet V'Litila
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'necha Ki imekor Haveracha Mirosh Mikedem Nesucha Sof Maaseh B'machshava Techila
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Mikdash melech melucha kumitzi mitoch hafecha harav lach shevet be'emek habacha v'hu yachamol alaychem la.
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Hitna ari me'afarku milivshi bigdei tifartecha hamiyad ben yishai behet halach mikorva el nafshi ge'ala.
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Awake and arise to greet a new light, for in your radiance the world will be bright. Sing out, for darkness is hidden from sight through you, Adonai. Your presence radiates.
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Lo tevoshi, v'lo tikami, ma tishtochachi, u'matemi, bach yechesu, anyehami v'nivneta, ir atila.
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Hayulim shisa shohosai yifraku kol, nevalai yasisalai Elohai, kim sos chatan akahala.
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Break out from the left to the right, revere Adonai, in whom we delight. Mashiach is coming to gladden our sight, bringing joy and rejoicing in fulfillment of days.
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
Boi v'shalom aterebala gam v'simcha uvetzala toch emunei aham segula boi chala
Lecha Dodi Likakala Pnei Shabbat Nekabela
You guys help me with the Shabbat psalm?
Mizmor shir, Mizmor shir, shir Yom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir, Mizmor shir, shir Yom HaShabbat.
Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'lezamer l'shimcha ha'elyon lehagid ba'boker chastecha v'emunatcha ba'leilot.
Mizmor shir, Mizmor shir, shir Yom HaShabbat. Mizmor shir, Mizmor shir, shir Yom HaShabbat.
We drift to the bottom of page 23. Odunuvon v'seva dishenim ranenim yihu lehagid ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlahata bo. Page 24. Adonai malach ge'ud lavesh lavesh Adonai otzita zahar ahavti kohon tevel ba'ati moho. Elotechenem nu ma'od levecha nava kodesh Adonai la'orech yamim. Our first of our two mourners' Kaddishes, I'll read the Yortzeit list after the second because we're going to be there so soon. But for those who are reciting the mourners' Kaddish, please rise and recite with me at this time. Page 24. Yikadal v'yikadash me'rabah Yamad v'chayechon u'v'yamechon v'chayei Yisrael Ba'agala v'zman sari v'yimru amen. Yehi me'rabah v'barach Yiparach v'yishtabach v'ka'ar v'yitamach v'yinaseh Hadar v'yitaleh 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 Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata v'chasha v'nechemata amiram bi'amah Yehi Mama Chayim Aleinu Yisrael Oseh Shalom Aleinu V'Kol Yisrael. Amen. We continue on page 28 with the second half of the service. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bivaro ma'ariv haravim. Umavir yom umavir laila, mavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv haravim. 29, Ahavat olam v'Yisrael. V'avadcha tasim et olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You guys lead the V'ahavta?
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levacha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'otecha, v'hayu ha'dvarim ha'eleh, asher anochi metzavlecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinatam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shitecha b'betecha, v'v'letecha b'derech, v'neshavtecha u'kumecha, v'shoftam leot al yedecha, v'yutotafot b'neinecha, v'chaftam al mezuzot beitecha, v'visharecha.
We continue in the middle of page 30 into 31 and 32, and we continue with our climate change, environmentalism paragraph, and we continue silently from there. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Umalchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe Miriam u'bnei Israel v'chanu shabesimcha rabba v'yamru chulaham mi chamocha ve'elim Adonai mi chamocha netzar b'kodesh norat tzivot ha'oseh Malchutecha ra'u v'necha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze'eli hanu v'yamedru
Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Ne'emar ki fada Adonai Yaakov v'golim chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Will you girls read for us page 33? And if there's anyone who wants a reading, especially if you're in the younger demographic, then just put it in the chat area.
Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace, and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praise are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Amen.
Amen.
Especially impressive is the ability to read gender neutral even when it's not written that way on the page. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 34. Let's just read it together instead of singing it. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, ot hi leolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz, uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinapash. We continue in the middle of page 34. After the Kaddish, we'll have our silent Amidah. You can pray from 35b to 38, or you can close your eyes and have the prayer that you really think you should be having, or you're meant to be having at this time. If you have no other ideas for what to pray, but you're wanting to pray something other than the liturgy, it might be interesting to think about Reverend Dwight's, the title of the two books he's drawing from today. A book, what if you were to write a modern psalm, what would be the theme of that psalm? Or if you were writing a book about whispering to babies in the hospital, intensive care, or whispering to babies in general, what would you be whispering? So use our silent time creatively, perhaps in a way to soften the soil to hear Reverend Dwight's poetry. Yitkada v'yitkada shemer rabba, v'yamad yivrak yirtev yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechanu v'yamecha, v'chayetecho beit Yisrael, b'galav b'zman kariv v'imeru.
Amen.
Yehesh merabba mevarach, Olam olam me'omaya, Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v't'rumam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei l'kudeshah le'elah min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'ne'emata tamiram v'yama v'imeru. Amen. 35b to 38, or closing your eyes and one of the themes for your own prayers. For those davening, please continue. You can just ignore us or ignore me. Yikadav yikadav shemer rabba, v'yamad yivrak yirtev yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechonu v'yamechonu v'chayetecho beit Yisrael, v'galav b'zman kariv v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach, v'yodam olam me'omaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei l'kudeshah le'elah min kol berchatav shirata tishbechata v'nechemata damiram v'yama v'imeru.
Amen.
Titkabal tzlo tonavat tondorach Yisrael kol dam avohon divishmaya v'imeru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim alin v'kol Yisrael v'imeru.
Amen.
V'oseh shalom v'mormav v'yaseh shalom alinu v'kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Page 51 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'atei k'dula le'otzer breishi, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samadu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol amonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא לא תשמד. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 52. On this Shabbat, Beth Israel congregation, the Yortzites of John Apple, Marion Buckman, Ada Chaikin, Simi Cutler, Gertrude Doberson, Marcia Dorman, Margaret Dupuy, Sidney Fine, Bert Frey, Thelma Gordon, Menachem Grodin, Ben Herson, Toby Jacobowitz, Gail Jacobson Makovsky, Andrea Keverick, Alvin Kushner, Eli Layden, Alexander Leon, Abraham Lusky, Clarice Malach, Maxwell Markle, Stephanie Metz, Nathaniel Edward Michaels, Jerry Perlman, Fred Safran, Sidney Sauce, Ruth Vicker, Harry Weingarten, Dolores Weiss, Theodore Zeller, and Phyllis Zeller, as we continue to remember Ron Good, Greg Schaefer, Jack Kuczynski, Ethel Kellen, Maxine Feig, Mary Jane Northrup, and Gare Daniel Greenberg, Michael Perlman, Eli Bodkin, Gloria Greenfield, Dr. Stanley Pinsky, Roberta Kirshner, Milt Rockman, Darwin Bender, Mitchell Kramer, Erwin Pollack, Aryeh Greenberg, Harvey Danowitz, Millie Dietrich, Robert Morris, Lorraine Rothschild, Michael Zeller, Leslie Robert Axelrod, Andrew Diamond, Annette Friedman, Daniel Ashley, Alan Checkaway, Al Hermelin, Marcel Pollack, and Robin Musket. Along with all of those for whom we're saying the Kaddish, those reciting are welcome to unmute themselves and stand and recite along. Yigadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach v'yilich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah v'barach u'lamei amaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yinaseh. V'yitadar v'yitila v'yitalal shmei v'kodisha brichu. Ve'ela min kol pirchatav shirata tushbechata ta'amiran v'ama v'imru amen. Yehi shmama rabba v'chayim leinu yal kol Yisrael amen. Oseh shalom yimroma u'yaseh shalom Amen. May their memories continue to bring blessings to this world. I'm so honored today, yet again, to be able to share the pulpit, or actually hand over the pulpit to Reverend Dwight. And Reverend Dwight, I'm not introducing you, but you're welcome to introduce yourself. And we look forward to bringing in such a beautiful spring-like gorgeous evening on Shabbat, to bring it in with the words of poetry and your poetry. And I happily turn things over to you.
Good evening. It's I couldn't help but laugh as I was being called Reverend Dwight, which is appropriate, I suppose. I will be celebrating my 55th year as a minister on April 15th, which is coming up. But I started as a Baptist, but I very soon became a Quaker, and we don't use any titles. When I go back to my hometown, I am still Reverend. And ironically, just before we started, the daughter of my best friend, male friend, when I was growing up, called me on the phone, and she said, "Uncle Denny, this is," and I said, "Lord have mercy. I know this is somebody from Middletown because nobody else uses my nickname. And you all just scratch it off because my name is Dwight and I have retired that." I am so pleased to be with you. I was asked if I'd be willing to read for modern songs for 20 minutes. And it's so appropriate for me to be reading to you all. I've given dozens of readings across the country. But it all began, my writing modern psalms all began with your congregation. Because Rob Doberson, who was a previous rabbi, suggested to my wife that she consider writing psalms. So she comes home one day, and this is during the Obama administration. And with fear and trepidation, why, I have no clue, she said, "Would you be willing to write psalms with me?" When we were courting, I taught her how to write Japanese linked verse, which is actually, I was a haiku master for about 20 years. And so I taught all forms of Japanese poetry. But in that form, you actually write the poem together. But I knew she wasn't saying that. That she was saying we would write as ourselves, singles. She asked me sometime later, she said, "Honey, have you written any yet?" Because she didn't know what I was doing. And I said, "Well, I'm on 30 something. And she had just finished her first, which was why she was asking me. The interesting thing for me was, I've been writing psalms all my life. I just didn't know it, because I try to pray constantly all day long. And I pray to the Holy One, and that's what my modern psalms are. There's no artifice to it. It's totally my prayer to the Holy One. Now, as I said many times, you can jive other people 10,000 different ways. And I write historical fiction. I've written 6 novels and 3 short story books. I've got a pitch now for a TV series in my historical fiction, which is why my niece was calling me. But she's an actress in New York City. And I've also written a memoir. But when you're writing to God, God has already fact checked whatever you're going to say. So trying to lie to God, it does not work. Forget about it. I selected the ones I'm going to read to you, not because I think they're the most impressive, because I don't know what being impressive means if you're just speaking to the Holy One. What I did was I did it by birthdays in our family. Together, Diane and I have 7 children. I am the oldest person, and Diane is the second oldest. And then all the way down our children's birthday, I'm going to be reading a psalm written for that particular day. Not for them, but the order, Diane put them in an order, and I don't know why she put them in the order she did, but they go from January 1st to December 31st. There is going to be some silence in between as I transition from one psalm to the next. Do not call that dead space. You can call it contemplative space if you choose, if you're so sophisticated, but do not call it dead space. I'm going to start first, even though she is not the oldest, with Diane's only daughter, and I have no daughters. Well, I've adopted about 50-some women who were my students once upon a time, and they treated me like a daddy, so I treated them like a daughter. But on March 19th, which is today, it happens to be Rebecca's birthday. And so I'm going to start on March 19th, and then I'm going to go to the old one myself. May my life not be a burden to you. Should it encumber society, may I quickly change my way of living to repay more than the mounting interest on the love you continually advance. If I refuse to aid you in healing, the indicators will be clear that I'm saying you, the one who keeps time with the grasses, dressed in green or brown, should handle your own business and stop pestering me. My conscience readjusts my actions, chasing my fatigue, carrying me aloft where the wind blows at my back. That was March 19th. April 28th is my birthday, and I'm next in line on Channel 9. Acting as your child, I refuse to limit my love to my kin and favorite friends. I reach beyond myself into you yourself, freely paying the price for my existence in a world where I'm a guest, as fragile as dust and as powerful as I dare to practice. Diane's birthday is May 4th. What do you risk when you trust fools like us? Must we go into a den full of lions and try to rescue others whom we are certain you love dearly, despite their willingness to consume everything worth having? So many times we've failed when victory seemed close enough to embrace as we would a child. More than once, our missteps were the cause of loss. Even when betrayal came from trusted friends, wiser people might have taken many more precautions with how our backs were guarded. Forgive us for blindness caused by oversights, short-sightedness, or impossible odds tackled because surrender was expected. We offer no excuses and accept our share of responsibility for the current mess that is piled so deep our nostrils hurt. Help us continue nurturing the courage you implanted and be better at monitoring the limitations that challenge all struggles. Kayashante, my first son, his name means thank you for the surprise, because I told 10,000 people at least that I had a girl coming, and once he arrived, I was so shocked that I said, whoo, thank you for the surprise. That's Swahili for Kayashante. Breaking the silence between us, I hear geese beyond the far hill, stopping over on their way from the coming winter. Their language is foreign. Their passion or joy is beyond my limited comprehension. So it is when my neighbors use their first tongues. Thank you for another reminder that we are not your only creatures. How I envy these who can pick up and go. It's not easy for those of your children confined to ghettos used as toxic waste dumps. We are plagued with more than poison water and necessary jobs that underpay. Our prayer is to escape forced squalor and become waymakers for the little ones, all the while knowing the love we share today may not be waiting when we arrive. Our solace in all seasons is you. Blessed be your name in a self-cursed land. My next son's name is Rai Imani, which means strong faith in Swahili. His birthday is July 18th. A public servant who asks for money, whether it be a bribe or merely the chance to fund elections, has betrayed the one who hides nothing that can bring the world to justice. Forgive this day their daily abuse. Transform them with love to act honorably and protect the ones whom they are called to serve. Without their compassion, we're at their mercy. Unless they show more benevolence, the nation they destroy will surely be our own. My next son is Tyamri. His birthday is March 31st, and Eagle is leading. This is what his name means. Some of our neighbors view you as an ice cube, cold if not melting, and as close to worthless as an addition to their opaque glass. In their minds, folk are the thirst-quenching liquids who make this world run expeditiously, but deserve less respect than mosquitoes. They ignore their own unreliability. Fueled by our penchant for being blind guides through a bramble maze watered by the tears of the oppressed on every continent. Open our hearts that we can let you lead us to peace that justice provides. With you pointing the way forward, we can embrace the ancestors' heartfelt prayers and avoid the curses our descendants will surely hurl our way after we have ruined opportunities for their grandchildren. All praises to the one who cares for all. You are the joy bringer, through whom all beauty is within the grasp of all people. Our next son is Jacob. His birthday is May 10th. To love, because healing is your command. To do good for goodness' sake is my choice. There are no conflicts in this practice. When we properly discipline ourselves, what comes forth is consistency that morphs into moments of perfection on earth. Help us sustain the compassion that leads to a city beyond eternity, one where time and space yield to bright beauty and complexity is simplicity, spoken in spiritual silences whose language translates in actions. My next son is Mai Hakili, a leader who is both spiritually and intellectually strong is what his name means. He was born on September 25th and fulfilled one of my dreams, which was to catch a baby. And I asked the midwife if she would let me do it, and she said, sure. So the first hands that caught him was me, and I washed the blood off of him and gave him to his mother. Your love is the yeast filling my spaces, even when I appear to be at rest. May I rise to meet you early each morning before I've had time to gather my thoughts, and not cool my passion until long after my life has met its final sundown. And the last of our 7 children is Benjamin, who was born on Valentine's Day. Keep us from hating those unlike our limited mental paintings of what makes an ideal person. We are not called by you to respect only those who walk with us and our best friends. We are called to respect and moreover to love whomever you have created. Breaking this flow, I'm going to end with a song that a music professor chose. I don't know why he was so far up into July, because he chose it last month to put into music. And this is his choice. Because of your grace, I have seen the sunrise from Lake Erie and set in the Pacific. Beauty in between I have too often missed. Help me align my soul with what awes my eyes. Forgive my fixation on the spectacular. Left to myself, I fail to appreciate the unique glories in each moment. A baby's finger and an April breeze is each a tender magnificence. I will live my life seeking the wholeness that heals my broken self, as well as the cracked world. I thank you for indulging me and for the opportunity. Where we go from here, I do not know.
Thank you, Dwight. Thanks for letting us listen to you talk to God. And I think by listening to you talk to God, I think we all know a little bit more about how to talk to God. So thank you for setting that example. I only wish you had more children, because the
We want more.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Hey, if I could have gotten them all through college, I probably would have had about 2 dozen. But I started figuring out that, hey, my money was running low.
You know, that sounds like a modern psalm itself. I can imagine saying that psalm to God. God, I would have had more if I could have put them through college.
God knows that.
I'm going to end the YouTube stream, so that I'm going to ask everyone to put it on gallery view so we can all do Kiddush together to end the service. And so I'm going to do that right now. Stop the live stream. Good night, everybody on the